Hi, this is Katie with MindBody. Today is day 7 of a 10-day series that I've been offering during these changes that we're all going through. On March 30th, Monday, from 7 to 9, I'm offering an online breathwork session. If you would like to join that session, just send me your email. Being day 7, it is brought to my attention that I want to speak about death. 7 is often a number of completion. And I have been hearing from many people the struggles that they're experiencing right now, not only in terms of anxiety based on the numbers that they're seeing around the world and the death, but there's also probably people experiencing the energetic sensitivity of it. And I have heard of people having their own moments of not being able to see a loved one, or that they're going through it right in front of them right now. So this is super important to know how to process. And I am not gonna talk today about the right way to process death, because honestly, there is no right way. Every little ingredient that goes into your own individual process has its value, and I wouldn't begin to be able to claim what is of value to you in order for you to process death. I can only tell you based on my own experience, and my experience has been pretty extensive in terms of going from rock bottom from a death to being completely comfortable with it. And I really do wish this for anyone, no matter where you are at in the scale. And maybe you haven't ever experienced death yet, but you do feel its power at times when you know someone that you know is going through it, and you might not know how to be there for them or show up in that way. Essentially, from my own experience, I've learned that it's important to see the power itself of death. It is a catalyst to life. You know, it's that, I relate it to the breath, and I use beliefs to strengthen it. So how I relate it to the breath is, when we take in and then it circles around and we surrender and let go. I mean, we could talk about that letting go and being able to really detach. And death is that ultimate detachment, right? No matter what you believe from in your religious backgrounds, your belief systems that say maybe it's not the ultimate, but in terms of physical reality that we live in, and if you've ever experienced death, there is a sense of finality that does exist in the physical world. And so that surrender, that letting go, that completion to a cycle, there was life and now there is not. And so the birth and the end of a life, they have a distinct vibration to them that is higher than most other experiences. They are super significant, and how you come into the world is just as significant as how you leave it. And so I want to talk about looking at in terms of the breath. One of the main ways to process death is to do a breathwork form known as holotropic or rebirthing. I've also used integral breathwork, which is only in the lower portion, rhythmic breathing, and holotropic and rebirthing. These are done they're an all-day process. They are guided by very skilled practitioners in breathwork, and they go deep within your being to essentially have you rebirth yourself. And from my own personal experience, the death that I experienced at 21 years old was a boyfriend of mine who I thought at the time I was going to be spending the rest of my life with. And he was a catalyst to me understanding or questioning or wanting to understand so much about myself. And I want to encourage everyone to take the power of death and use it to deepen a sense of life. So typically, if people have a really hard time with death, they're not able to get past it or grieve it, and it weighs too heavy for too long, It literally sucks your life. And if you think about the person that has died that you care for, I would imagine that would be the last thing they would want you to do, to actually have your life force sucked from you. You know, I would think if they had a voice and they would come and tell you in your ear, they would say, you know what, I actually really want you to move on and live your life to the fullest. So if you want to ask anything of me what I want, that is what I would want. And, you know, if we even think about death in that way, we can say the best way to honor death, since it is such a powerful experience and it has such a huge vibration, is to live your best life. So death will trigger where you are not strong in your core beliefs, where you need to become more of yourself, more authentic, more loving, more connected, and higher spiritual beliefs that hold you up, ground you during the process of death. This is super important. One other thing is that is a catalyst too in terms of life is your breathing. I have experienced, and I'm sure many of you have, your heart is breaking and your chest is being ripped apart. And in that experience, it's so important to infuse and heal and process that through deepening the breath, deepening the life force in you, and really meeting death face to face and honoring it. This is why when people die, we have ceremonies. We come together in a safe way to meet and greet death. No matter how painful it is of value, it is of significance, which is what makes it so painful, right? The more you love, the more you've invested, the more you've given into a life, very often the more it hurts. And this is why I want to take the perception of death off of a person and invite you to strengthen at any time. And I want to promote now, strengthen your relationship with death itself. What does it mean to leave your family behind? What does it mean to no longer exist? What does it mean if someone you've loved no longer existed? And are you willing and able to live a life that has enough worth and value and respect and honor that in that moment of experiencing the power of death, you feel peace and you feel okay and you are solid and you feel your feelings, you grieve that, you let the sadness and the grief happen, but at no time are you shaken to your core and feeling incapable of moving forward. As I said, I have experienced it firsthand, all the realms of those thoughts, and I have looked to breathwork and core belief engineering as a quick, effective way to get myself out of the grips of death, out of its power and control, and really back into my life after that experience. And I hope for all of us, through whatever amounts and counts and experiences that we go through right now with this change and the amount of deaths that are happening, that also happens to us, that we process so effectively that this experience strengthens us and allows us to start living the way that we know is true in our hearts. It's authentic, it's loving, it's connected, and it's natural, because there is no more time to waste and no more excuses and no more distractions if we process this effectively. Many people have trouble processing death, and it lingers a long time, and it can affect many health issues. It's so powerful, right? And so the better and faster and more efficient we get at healing it and strengthening our relationship with it, we will be unstoppable. we will be a collective that is empowered, and we will be making choices in our life that build our life, that leave no regrets, that really honor death, because we know we're living a life that when death comes and we face it and we experience it and we meet it, that there is just a mutual respect based on that balance between life and death. That life was lived and death can be lived. And they have, they're both okay because they're both natural. And I can talk for hours about death and how to process through it. And know wherever you're at in that, it's good. It's a good thing to strengthen it. If you would have asked me 5 years after my loved one died, how do I feel about it? There's a difference what you say 2 years, 5 years, 10 years time, but also how are you working at the healing? I would have been a different person than I am today if I did not choose to effectively heal from the loss of a loved one. So I hope you all choose to tune in to what you might be triggered about death, and whether it's literally happening at this moment around you or not, or have had it happen in the past. Choose to process and heal it. Seek help. Healing with death takes community. All right. Much love to all of you. Go live your lives, and send me a message if you have any topic that you would like to focus on. Use the breath, holotropic breathing, rebirthing, integral breath work are all healing therapeutic processes, and really getting into how your beliefs can support you or cripple you when it comes to death. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.